Trapped by the belief that I'm not good enough, bound by the limitations and the lies that consumed my world, this was me. It wasn't until I took the biggest leap in my life to know and trust the power within. And it was at that moment I made a choice. My past will not define me anymore. Hello, I am Teri, and I know I am not alone in this. Over the years, I have found that the number one mistake that we make is that we get in the way of our own success story. Yes, I said it. On this show, together we'll tackle limiting beliefs, self-sabotage, getting stuck, fear, doubt, overwhelm, and the imposter syndrome. Join us on this journey designed to transport you beyond your limitations to a world where anything is possible. This is Talking with Teri. Welcome back to Talking with Teri. We were having powerful conversations to transform your life and your business. And today's special guest that we have with us, you are going to be delighted and awed, I'm sure, about her journey. I have Frew with us today. Now, as a daughter of a carpenter and a wife of a master plumber, Susan used her business coaching experience, having coached over 10,000 hours, 18 different trades, and 150 companies, to grow Sunshine Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning 535%, folks, in 1 year, okay? And she made the elusive Inc. 5000 list in 2019, along with 43 other awards and accolades. I am so excited. Okay. That's not all. She's a former international GM and AT&T Wireless. She's an instructor for the SBA's National Emerging Leaders Program, radio host for coaching, not just for sports, on ESP Radio in Denver. And after a break to focus on Sunshine's growth, Susan has returned to her roots as a business coach, professional speaker, and MC. Now travels around the U.S. delivering keynotes and trainings to conventions and encourages audiences and clients to go on the skinny branches. Oh, I'm excited to hear more about that. So welcome to the show.
Thanks, Teri. I'm so excited to be here, and congratulations on all your success with the podcast. It's fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you. So, for folks that do not know you yet, they get this opportunity to get to know you more today. Bring us up to speed. How did you come to be where you're at today?
Well, I was business coaching. When I came back from my international assignment with AT&T, I bought a business coaching franchise, and I was living in Breckenridge, and I ended up meeting my husband through a really funny, kind of long story, but anyway, we didn't really hit it off in the beginning. And then in 2012, we got married. But, I was coaching during the recession in a resort town. So that really wasn't working out for me. So I made my way back down to Denver. And when we got married, we started Sunshine Plumbing, Heating, Air in the Denver metro market, up against 950 competitors. So
Wow.
Our only way to get any leverage and to beat out our competition was to deliver like mind-blowing customer service. And we really catered to a female audience. Most of our clients are women and still are.
Love it.
And that's sort of our way of in the market. We're woman-owned and we care about our women clients.
I love it. Okay. And now are you pausing on that for a little bit? I mean, obviously you still own the business now, but you're still getting out there and you're still doing more coaching and speaking, correct?
I am. So what happened though, is I was speaking a lot and I was traveling almost every single week. I was doing a lot of conventions and speaking outside the state. And I had a great team behind me. I had a great employee that took on more and more and more responsibilities, wanted more tasks. Like, it was great for me. It was a business owner's dream. But what had happened is I had made a very bad hire. I didn't realize it for a long time, and it cost us a significant amount of money, almost $1 million. And we have used the last 18 months to dig ourselves out of that. We've done a complete turnaround, but we did almost lose the company 18 months ago. So it's been a fun ride. And that is, Teri, why I feel like I must go back to coaching. This is sort of a calling for me, that I need to go and help people, not to let this happen to them. Because if it can happen to me, who's coached 10,000 hours, it can happen to anyone.
Yeah. So what was that process? I mean, I always talk, a lot of the high performing women that I have on the show, we talk a lot about, the mindset, the challenges, the things that we've had to overcome to create that success. Now you had success, you had a little dip, right? And now you're going to kill it again. But what was that time like? I mean, during that time, for you?
Well, it was a huge growth experience because first of all, I needed to get really humble and really fast. And I needed to say, you know what, if I lose this business or if we move out of our big 5,000 square foot building on the highway with the lighted sign, it's okay. And I had to get over what anyone else thought of me, what they said, what they were surmising, whatever it was. I just had to push all of that aside and be paramount importance to keeping my employees that were loyal to us employed and keeping the business rolling and taking care of the thousands of customers that we had in our database, many of which were my friends. And I just felt this tremendous obligation that I had to keep the company going because I'd be letting down so many people who had trusted me. And, I got very humble. I got very vulnerable. I became very transparent with everyone in my company. And we did lose 10 employees during this time over the course of this year and or that year. And, we've rebounded and we've hired back almost all but one employee. And we have one open truck and that's all. So it's been a wild ride, but it certainly put me in a different headspace for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's, you mentioned about, being completely vulnerable and open yourself up. And, you even talked about, having, what other people would think of you and setting that aside. Now that is not an easy feat to do. Like that is not easy. So how did you find yourself? It's one thing saying, okay, we're having a difficult time. I don't care what anyone thinks. We're just going to push this over there. But that's really hard to put into practice. So what was that time like for you? And what did you find yourself doing to really help support you in that?
Well, one of the things that I did, and this may sound to some people a little silly, is, I've always been a person who was involved in fitness in one way or another. I ski raced back in the day, mountain bike race, and not very well because I've had 17 broken bones and 10 concussions. So I'm not very good at sports, but it doesn't stop me from going big.
That's the ongoing joke with my husband and I as well. He's like, if we go skiing, he's like, we're going to end up in the ER. Like most of the times that I have gone skiing, I've ended up in the ER. I'm like, we just don't ski enough. The odds are against us. If we skied more, maybe the odds would be better.
But so I just really took fitness as a new tool, if you will, to manage the stress. I was under tremendous stress. And I have this little tracker on my bed that tells you how well you slept, and it goes from 0 to 100. I was sleeping at 11 for a
heavens.
time. 11. So not sleeping at all, basically. So I just started working out, and I would go every single morning, and that would be like my accomplishment. So no matter what happened for the rest of the day, I had that done. And it just gave me a lot more focus. And the focus was is I needed to take care of those customers that were in my database and those people who were my friends and who had trusted us. And also what was happening, and touching on the vulnerability again, I had all these speaking engagements to talk about how great our company was and how fast we grew.
Yeah.
And I'm standing on stages talking about this, and I would get off stage, and Teri, I would physically go and get sick because I couldn't tell that story another time. I couldn't. And then I couldn't tell the next part of the story without crying. And, as a keynoter yourself, usually the meeting planner doesn't want the keynote to be breaking down in hysterics while on stage in front of their members. So just a little weird thing that was happening.
Yeah. 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 So were you able to be transparent on stage? Because I mean, that's like the ultimate vulnerability test, right? Like being completely transparent and being like, okay, yes, and here's what's happening.
Well, I'm not Brene Brown. She does this so much better than any of the
I
rest
mean,
of
she's
us,
like
right?
yes, she's like we all strive.
Exactly. She has
And
set the bar.
even her, like she, we'll have her on the show at one point. So Brene, but even her, like I think she's been vulnerable about that as well. Like we all make mistakes, and we're all, on this growth journey.
Well, a speaker friend of mine said it like this. You can't tell your story while you're in the middle of your story.
Yeah.
And that was it, right? So I needed to pause and
Mhm.
I needed to recollect myself and I needed to get through what I needed to get through here at the shop and rework my whole entire company and go back to my coaching roots. I mean, I coached 150 companies through the recession. Like, I kind of knew what to do, right? It's
Yeah.
just that it's really hard to coach yourself. So I just tried to get out of myself and ask, honestly, what advice would you give to somebody else? And so we started rebuilding the company. And this year to date, we have paid back $439,000 of debt. One of the big
Wow.
issues with this embezzlement slash bad management is we owe the IRS a lot of money that I did not know about. I found out by a certified letter on a Saturday morning. So the good
Yeah.
news is that we hired some very expensive and really good attorneys, and we have offers and compromise in the system, and this all should be behind us by early next year. So
Oh,
exciting. So
yay.
now my new story that I speak
Oh,
about, and it's helping so many more people, is called Leading Through the Rain. On
yeah.
how do you lead your team through a crisis like this and get to the other side. And that is my mission now. It really is. That's my why.
Yeah, and I think it's even, I mean, if we, broaden this a bit, right? Like, I mean, obviously we're talking about this on the backdrop of COVID, which has required us all to to pivot and to look at our businesses in a different way. And yes, that was prior to COVID, but there's a lot of businesses right now that this applies to this, right? This applies
Yep.
to how do you take a huge beating, if you will, in the business arena, and then how do you come back from that, and how do you come back even stronger than you were before? So I mean, so what would you share, what would be a what do I want to say, a tool, a strategy for people right now that are experiencing kind of a new transition with their business?
Well, one thing that we did that really helped us so much is we got super lean. So I moved out of this beautiful building on the highway with the light sign, all that stuff, big ego building. And we moved into the offices, we moved into my house, and we moved our shop into another shop, which has actually been a blessing on a lot of fronts. Now with COVID, we all kind of quarantined together here at the house. My office folks love coming here. It's super comfortable. We have dogs. I cook. Like, it is just like a big family environment here. And then at our shop, everything fit perfectly. And it was in a better location actually for traffic. And it's just working out so much better. So if you need to get lean, that's my advice, people. If you need to get lean, you need to set your ego aside. If you can't afford the big building, get out. Whatever you need to do to keep your people paid and keep your customers satisfied, the people that you have, groomed over the last how many years,
Yeah.
that's what you need to do. Your people need to be first and your customers right there.
Oh, I have to agree with you 1000%. Like, and you're right. Like, we can do more with a business. We can have bigger impact in the world if we have a business. But if we are not, if we're a sinking ship and we're not making the choices to turn that ship around, then we're not able to serve in a bigger way. So
Yes, absolutely. And something else I did, I got very involved with Profit First, and I started doing Profit First in my business, and I loved it so much that I went on to take their course, and I take my final exam next week, and I will be full-fledged certified Profit First coach. And there's very few of us in Colorado, so I'm really excited about that. And but that helped us exponentially. Even if I could only put away 1%. I have a little bit of a stash, and now my sleep pattern is in the 80s or 90s every single night.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it. Fantastic. Okay. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story. And so how can people find you and connect with you? And maybe if their business is struggling and they need to, take a look at, what that business looks like in the next, 6 months, a year, like how can
yeah.
they reach out and connect with you?
You can email me at susan@susancoaches.com. Super easy. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me anywhere on the internet. Susan Frew, Frew. You'll find a lot of things out, different ways to reach out to me. LinkedIn, Facebook pages, Twitter, Instagram, whatever way you like to reach out, I will be on the other side of that. And I'm happy to help. Even if you just need to tell me your story, I am happy to just sit and listen.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Susan, for being on here. And everyone, please reach over, I'll put her information in the show notes, so reach out to her and connect however you see fit. And just thank you, Susan.
Thanks, Teri. I appreciate it. Great connecting with you. And congratulations again on the show.
Thank you. I am so grateful that you joined me for this episode. If you've enjoyed this, then there's just one thing that I would like you to do. Click to subscribe and leave me a rating and review. As my way to thank you, let's connect for a free consultation. Just reach out to me at talkingwithteri, that's TERI.com, to book your time.